Have you ever looked at a 1987 US quarter dollar coin and thought, it's just another ordinary coin? Well, think again. That small piece of metal you might have in your change jar could be worth far more than 25 cents. In fact, certain 1987 quarters have shocked collectors and coin enthusiasts with their surprising rarity, unique minting errors, and incredible value. Some examples have been estimated to be worth thousands and, under the right conditions, even millions of dollars. So before you spend that 1987 quarter, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how this coin could secretly be a hidden treasure in your pocket. The 1987 US quarter dollar coin belongs to the Washington Quarter series, which started back in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. These coins feature Washington's portrait on the obverse or front side and an eagle with spread wings on the reverse. By 1987, these quarters were made primarily from a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than the earlier 90% silver versions that ended in 1964. Even though most 1987 quarters were produced in large quantities and are considered common, there are some exceptions that make collectors go wild, especially when minting errors or unique conditions are involved. In 1987, the US Mint produced quarters at two primary locations: Philadelphia, marked by the P Mint mark, and Denver, marked with a D. A total of over 1.1 billion quarters were struck that year, 935 million in Philadelphia and 605 million in Denver. With such high numbers, you might think none could possibly be rare. But here's where things get interesting. While most of these coins were circulated and worn down, a small number were struck with errors or under unusual conditions, turning them into prized collectibles. The first thing collectors look for in a 1987 quarter is condition. A coin graded as mint state, especially MS67 or higher by grading services like PCGS or NGC, can command huge premiums. The difference between an average circulated coin and a gem quality uncirculated coin can be hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some perfectly preserved examples with full luster and no visible wear have sold for well over $1,000. It may sound unbelievable for a modern coin, but in the world of numismatics, perfection and rarity are everything. But it's not just condition that can make a 1987 quarter valuable. It's also the mistakes. Minting errors are like accidental art pieces in coin collecting. Each error tells a story of what went wrong at the mint during production, and some of these mistakes can make a coin incredibly rare. For example, some 1987 quarters have been found struck on the wrong metal plancher. That means instead of being made from the standard copper-nickel clad composition, they were accidentally struck on planchers meant for other coins such as dimes, nickels, or even foreign coins. These error coins can sell for thousands of dollars depending on the type and condition. Another type of error that can dramatically increase value is a double die. This happens when the coin die is struck twice out of alignment, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or image. On the 1987 quarter, doubling may appear on the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even on Washington's eye or hair details. A clear and visible double die can transform an ordinary coin into a small fortune. Collectors are always on the hunt for these rare variations, and the sharper the doubling, the higher the price. Then there are off-center strikes, broad strikes, and clipped planchers. An off-center strike occurs when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, resulting in part of the design missing A 1987 quarter with a 10% off-center strike might fetch $50 to $100, but a 50% off-center strike that still shows the full date and mint mark could be worth several $100s or more. A broad strike, where the coin expands outward without a rim, can also be valuable, and a clipped planche, where a piece of the coin's edge is missing from the metal blank before it was struck, is another fascinating minting mistake that collectors love. One of the rarest and most exciting 1987 quarter varieties discovered so far is the transitional error. These are coins accidentally struck using materials or designs meant for a different year. For instance, if a leftover planche from 1986 or a prototype planche from 1988 was mistakenly used in 1987, the result could be a transitional error worth thousands. There are stories in the coin collecting community about 1987 quarters struck on experimental metal compositions or blank planches intended for special proof coins. If authenticated, such coins could easily reach five-figure values at auction. Speaking of proof coins, the US Mint also produced special 1987S proof quarters in San Francisco, marked with an S. These were made for collectors, not for circulation, and feature a mirror-like finish with sharp details. Most proof coins are relatively common because they were sold directly to collectors, but a few have surfaced with extraordinary minting errors, such as double strikes or missing layers, that make them worth a fortune. One 1987 S proof quarter with a dramatic mint error sold for over $4,000 at auction. Now, here's where things get even more exciting. Certain 1987 quarters have achieved legendary status in the collecting world due to their condition and rarity combined. A perfect, uncirculated 1987D quarter-graded MS-68 by PCGS once sold for nearly $2,000, but experts believe that if a flawless MS-69 example were ever discovered, it could easily reach or surpass $10,000 at auction. And if that coin were to exhibit a major minting error or unique strike anomaly, it could push the value into the hundreds of thousands or potentially even millions, because collectors would be competing fiercely for a one-of-a-kind piece. It's important to understand that coin values fluctuate based on demand and discovery. What might seem common today could become rare tomorrow if collectors suddenly recognize a new variety or pattern. This has happened before in the coin world. For instance, the 2004 Wisconsin quarter with the extra leaf error went from pocket change to being worth hundreds overnight once the error became known. The same could happen with a 1987 quarter if a new variety is discovered, such as a unique die crack, doubling, or experimental strike. That's why it's crucial to always check your coins closely before spending them. To check if your 1987 quarter could be valuable, start by examining it under good lighting with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for clear, crisp details and see if there are any unusual marks or pattern. Check the mint mark P, D, or S and pay attention to how the letters and numbers are struck. Doubling, misalignment, missing details, or extra metal around the edges are all clues that your coin could be something special. If you think you've found a potential error, it's best to have the coin authenticated and graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. A professional grade not only confirms the coin's authenticity, but can also multiply its market value. The beauty of the 1987 quarter story is that it reminds us how everyday items can hold unexpected worth. Millions of people have handled these coins without realizing that one in a million might be a treasure hiding in plain sight. Imagine finding a 1987 quarter in your change, submitting it for grading, and discovering it's worth tens of thousands or even more. That's the thrill of coin collecting, history, mystery, and the potential for a once-in-a-lifetime find. Another factor that adds interest to 97 quarters is the historical context. The 1980s were a transitional time for US coin production. The mint was experimenting with new materials, refining press technologies, and adjusting designs for improved quality and cost efficiency. As a result, error rates occasionally spiked, especially during high production years like 1987. Many error coins escaped into circulation unnoticed, and decades later, they've become the focus of collectors who specialize in modern minting anomalies. There are also rumors and unverified stories in the coin community about a few 1987 quarters that may have been struck using silver planchets left over from earlier commemorative issues. While none have been officially confirmed, if such a coin were ever authenticated, it could easily fetch 6 or 7 figures. Imagine a 1987 Washington quarter that weighs more than usual and tests positive for silver content. It would be one of the rarest modern quarters ever discovered. That possibility alone keeps collectors checking every coin that passes through their hands. So, what can you do if you have a 1987 quarter? First, don't spend it until you've inspected it carefully. Even if it looks ordinary, condition matters. A perfectly preserved coin can be worth much more than one that's been in circulation. Keep it in a protective holder or coin flip to avoid scratches. If you notice anything unusual, take clear photos of both sides and compare your coin to images of known errors online. You might even want to weigh it, as an incorrect weight can indicate a wrong planchet or metal composition. Next, consider submitting it to a professional grading service. Graded coins come with a certification number and encapsulated holder that guarantee authenticity and preserve value. Collectors and investors prefer graded coins because they can trade or sell them with confidence. The grading report will also tell you if your coin is a known variety or something completely new, which could make it even more valuable. Over the years, auctions have shown just how much collectors are willing to pay for rare or error quarters. Some coins that started as pocket change ended up selling for thousands.